Get a cup, get a cup, get a cup. Hello, welcome back everyone to another video of Fresh Cuts Limit. Today, we're looking at my experience living in Los Angeles by Jaden Animations. Now, I've not reacted to a Jaden Animation video in a long time. But yeah, with that being said, the original link to the description. Without any further ado, let's begin.
9 years ago, James and I talked about what it was like living in our home state, Arizona. I honestly don't remember most of what we said in that video. I tried to rewatch it as a refresher and maybe a little trip down memory lane, but turns out after 5 seconds I'd rather be guillotined. No. Eyes on me. You clicked on this video, you're staying on this video. No funny ideas, alright? The other day, I was in a store trying to buy a plain black shirt that was locked up behind those stupid box lockers. So I had to ring an employee.
What kind of store were you at that you had that the friggin' shirts were locked up? Like, if I go to Walmart, even the shirts aren't locked up there. And that's Walmart. Is that how bad it is in LA, where everything's just locked up behind stuff because people are stealing?
For a single shirt. A few minutes later, someone came by. All right, what can I... Oh my gosh. Are you Jaden Animations? Yeah. No way. I love your videos. Can I get a photo? Yeah. Thanks so much. I didn't expect to see you here. Are you visiting? Oh, no, I live here. You're not in Arizona anymore? And that's when it dawned on me, there is a giant portion of my audience who will not get updated on some parts of my life if I don't explicitly say it in one of my animations.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's not like everyone's tuned into everything you do, right? I mean, some people are. Some people are following you on all socials and all that stuff. But some people are just, just like your videos. And so that's all they'll watch. And so they're only going to get information that's in them. I, for one, didn't know she lived in LA either. And does James still live in Arizona, or did he move too? James is the odd ones out, for those of you who don't know.
Also, the guy left without unlocking the box, so I had to wait another 5 minutes for him to come back and get the shirt. So yeah, to anyone who didn't get the memo, I've been in California for the past 6.5 years, specifically Los Angeles. I honestly can't believe it's been that long already, because that means for the past 6.5 years, I've been doing nothing but complaining about it the entire time. I believe in the compliment sandwich system, though. Not everything about moving to California has been bad. For example, the weather is great.
Oh, I thought you was going to say the taxes, or the wildfires, or the homeless people.
It's always sunny, which, Arizona is too, but in a bad way. California doesn't hit the casual 118 everything outside melts and dies degrees like back home. It's vacation weather all the time. I like that part.
That would be a lot nicer.
The drivers here are assholes. Arizona isn't all sunshine and rainbows in the driving department either. When I was learning to drive as a teenager, my mom told me to never honk at people no matter what because there's a chance they'll just shoot me. But because of the sheer volume of people on California...
I don't like honking at people either. Like, I rarely do it. I feel like I'm being a bit of a dick when I do it. But sometimes, like if you're at a stoplight and then it turns green and they aren't going because they're on their phone, I have to honk. Like, just go.
California roads all the time. It is a completely different beast, and every single one of them is driving to go kick babies because they hate their fellow man. Compassion does not exist on the California freeway, and by that I mean blinkers. The very helpful and necessary communication tool.
Well, everyone there is driving nice cars, right? So I mean, it makes sense. People in nice cars don't use blinkers
that tells people you'd kindly like to move into the lane. It's a sign of weakness here. If you even think about...
I think in any large city it's like that. Wherever there is a large amount of people, I feel like this becomes the case, where they just stop using turn signals and it's just kind of force your way in. I don't know why, but that seems to be the case for any large city.
Turning your blinker on, every single car in your vicinity will speed up and refuse to let you merge because they cannot handle the idea of a different car being in front of them. How can they get to their destination faster if a car that was in front of them in a different lane suddenly shifts to the side 12 feet? People will go out of their way to merge into the lane just to speed past you and spit on your windshield. When I turn my blinker on, which I still do because I refuse to let this barbaric driving culture corrupt me, a car will speed up and then merge in front of me. If you need to be in my lane and I need to be in yours, we literally have to stay at our same speeds.
Yeah, it doesn't change anything. People are stupid. People are so stupid. And oh my gosh, this actually pisses me off. That says nothing. This has nothing to do with this.
And shift. It's simple. There's no point in you blocking my merge just to merge into my lane anyway. Oh my god, it pisses me off so much. They do it all the time. If I had no money and got $1 every single time someone took advantage of my blinker, I'd have enough money to move out of this godforsaken state. One time
You can still use your signals, but just use them at the last second. Like, so you're gonna act basically like these people where you're just gonna turn over, but you turn it and then you turn the signal and then you go. You turn your signal, then you go. It's like right away. Don't give them a chance to react.
turned my blinker on, checked my blind spot, and in the amount of time it took for me to look back at the road and start merging, a car way behind me had sped up so fast that my car's auto detection had to cut my merge off so I wouldn't hit them. And then that car honked at me!
I don't, like, what is the benefit to living in California? What is the benefit to living there? The only thing would be that there may be more opportunities for creators. But there are other, like Texas has that. New York has that. New York probably just as bad for driving, honestly, if not worse. At some point, you just don't want to live in LA, but like if you want to collab with people there, maybe you want to find a city, like a bordering city or a town. That way you can still drive and collab with people if you wanted. But you don't have to deal with this kind of driving all the time.
I will kill us both. All right, the drivers suck, but at least I'm only going a few miles. Not only am I forced to drive alongside these bozos, I'm forced to drive alongside them for way longer than I should need to. The traffic is so genuinely bad, I daydream of becoming a better sprinter to arrive at places quicker because it is genuinely not far from the realm of realism. Either that or get one of those monster snowplow attachments. I mean, seriously, 10 miles? I should not be in the car longer than 20 minutes. Everyone here loves driving 30 over the speed limit anyway. I don't even know what the holdup is.
Yeah, for 10 miles, like you should be done that easily in like 20 minutes or less. And then you're there for 40 minutes. Biking would probably be faster.
So a little tip, if you wanted to find a place to park when you get to your destination, you shouldn't even be driving in the first place. Parking doesn't exist here, it's a myth and a lie. 95% of all locations have 0 parking lots. There's never street parking, and if you happen to be a lucky enough soul to find a spot, you can't slow down to parallel park into it because people are either gonna yell at you for clogging the lane or ram into your bumper. It's just an evil trick. So your only choice is to find a parking garage that costs like $20. One time, my friends and I drove to a One Piece live symphony at the
One Piece!
Dolby Theater and decided to park in its parking garage. Oh, what an obvious mistake. Do you want to know how long it took us to get out of that garage after the show when everyone was leaving?
Probably so long. I went to a friggin' sports game, I don't know, like 5 months ago or something. I made the mistake of actually going into the parking lot of the sports area. So, you know, if they have like a football stadium, then you have the parking area. I made the mistake of going in there and then parking like at the back. Oh my gosh. I was lucky. I was somehow lucky enough that I got out relatively fast. Like it was maybe like a 20-minute wait. But I don't know how I actually did that because I should have been waiting for hours from trying to get out. I was very lucky. But in this case, I take it Jaden was not so lucky.
2.5 hours! We parked in the designated parking garage for a show and paid 2.5 hours of our life on top of real life money. So what if you don't have...
Holy crap. I would be so mad. At that point, you might as well just leave it in park and go walk and do something else and come back later.
a car. Then you don't have to deal with any of this, right? Well, you can't walk anywhere. What do you think this is? Any other country? You could get a bike or a motorcycle, but again, with the quality of drivers around, you might as well play Russian roulette every time the wheels touch asphalt. Maybe with the right setup and some expendable funds, you could just get around with rideshare apps. But
But then they have to deal with the traffic too, so you're not going to get around the traffic doing that.
And getting an Uber is so expensive out here. It might as well be considered a luxury in itself. If you're taking an Uber either to or from the LAX airport, I guarantee it'll cost at least $100. And the drivers don't get like any of that, by the way. Once I had a driver complain to me about the ride rates the whole trip, which was not asked for to begin with. He said he had a client once trying to go to LAX and they were being charged $100, like I said, but the driver was only gonna get $30 from the trip. So he offered to charge $80 cash for them to do it outside the app as—
Oh, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Screw freaking Uber and these other, Lyft, these other companies that just take so... They aren't giving you anything. They aren't giving anything. They're literally the middleman for the drivers and the customers, right? They're just the middleman that allows this transaction to happen. But they aren't doing anything else. And what they do offer, it's not 60% of the job. And they're taking like 60% or more of the revenue.
It's a win-win. Don't ever take this type of offer, kids. That was incredibly dangerous. But that's just
Why is that dangerous? Explain.
where the landscape of Uber is here. Also, fun little tip, never tell any drivers the place you're going to or from is your actual home.
Never do that, because then if they're way too into you, they might stalk you. Maybe even instead of taking them exactly to your house, like maybe a house or two down, and then just get out there.
This is for everywhere, not just California. Sure, if they ask, it's normally small talk, but when it's not, you're in danger. Yikes, now that guy won't leave your driveway. And the police say they can't do anything because he hasn't actually committed a crime yet. Just lie and say it's a friend's place or something. It's not worth the gamble, and lying to strangers is fun. That was a free survival hint from your friendly neighborhood YouTuber. Put that one in the back of your pockets. Speaking of LAX, because I brought it up earlier, that place is actual hell on earth. If someone gets sent there after death, I would consider it a viable punishment for being a bad person. But innocent people are forced to be subjected to it every single day, and it's inhumane. You have every single asshole with a plane ticket in the entire city and beyond enter through the same stupid entrance, forced to drive through the same loop bumper to bumper until they—
Yeah, that doesn't seem like it's designed that well, right? That seems like that's gotta be like a bottleneck.
get to their specific gate. No branching paths, no attempts to categorize the types of arrivals, just a single slaughterhouse line like cattle. But in normal slaughterhouse lines, the cattle don't hate each other. I was talking about bad merging before. It is legitimately survival of the fittest in the LAX horseshoe. Absolutely no one will let you merge lanes ever unless you threaten to fist fight them right there on the concrete. One time I sat with my blinker on in traffic that was not moving for 15 minutes straight, and a dude still refused to let me start merging once cars started inching forward. I had to sit there making direct eye contact.
That's so awkward. I don't understand what people like think they get out of doing that. Like I'm in the mindset of, you know, if you aren't signaling, then there's more of an issue. If you're not going to signal getting over into my lane and I see you're going to start moving, maybe I'll speed up to stop you.
With him until he was uncomfortable enough to let me get in front of him. It is personal. I am not the same person when I'm in the LAX horseshoe. None of us are. Some dudes in the 1960s decided they wanted everyone that ever planned to visit LA to suffer instantly when they got here. And they simply got away with it. I've spent so much time talking about traffic and the airport. I haven't even talked about living in LA yet. Well, that part sucks too! Everything is so absurdly expensive here, it's almost comedic.
The weird thing is California grows a lot of fruits and vegetables, so you would think the fruits and vegetables would be cheaper.
Almost. Maybe raise the prices of food like $10 more and I'll start to chuckle. No, a burrito's like $40. I haven't even had food out here that's blown my mind. Sure, it's not bad, but when eating out can get this expensive,
Don't forget the tip.
expect something more to write home about. There are some really fancy restaurants around, but I shouldn't have to spend even more money to eat a meal that makes me go, wow, I will remember this. It's become a common pastime.
There's no way you're actually spending $40 on a burrito. Is that how actually expensive? Is that how expensive it actually is, or $30 even? That seems crazy. I got a burrito like a month ago or something. I don't remember what the price was, but I know it wasn't anywhere near 30.
It's time for some people to pull up Zillow and look at all the really crazy expensive multi-million-dollar mansions, fantasizing about what they would do if they were to live in the craziest of homes. But the equivalent of that for me and my friends here is to look at normal homes that are just not in California. Oh, look at that one! 3-bed, 2-bath for like $2,500 a month. That's insane. Here, the same thing can go upwards of $7,000.
Whoa!
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm very lucky and fortunate enough to not have to worry about finances.
Yeah, Jaden's, from judging, Jaden's been making videos for a long time. The videos do really well. Why would you even be renting a house at that point? Why wouldn't you just buy it? Like, well, not in California, because that's still going to cost you an insane amount of money, but in like any other state, you could probably afford a house.
Much. I can afford to live in a more expensive place here. It's not going to break my bank. But at the same time, I'd like to still be relatively smart with money. Sure,
That's why you should buy the house instead, because then you have an asset that will keep appreciating over time, because they're going to keep devaluing the dollar, which means assets will go up.
To splurge on plushies and trinkets. Haha, Jaden's buying another Miku figure. But outside of that stuff, I'm really not spending money on anything else. I'm not into luxury cars or clothes or any of that type of culture. It's trinkets, plushes, and admittedly, a little too much DoorDash. But I have a job
That never hurt anyone now.
Can perform literally anywhere in the entire world. And I'm sitting here wasting extra costs on living in one of the most expensive cities in America.
That's what doesn't make any sense. Like, unless you're doing collabs with people who live there and you're doing them often, if you're not doing that, you should move to somewhere else, like Oregon or someplace else, that's cheaper, and then just fly out there whenever you do want to do a collab, if it's, here and there.
It feels bad. And I don't know if you picked up on it yet, but I don't even really like it here all that much. So why? Why do I choose to burn extra money just to exist in LA? The single reason is all of my friends are here, and I'd happily
there you go.
Shovel extra funds into a giant furnace to be near them, because that's what makes a place feel like a true home. But all of my friends are also content creators that can work anywhere too, and if
you just need a group of you to come together and be like, okay, we're gonna collectively move out to X and Y state. We're gonna rent a house there. That seems like that, that would work.
We all just banded together and decided to move somewhere else.
Yes.
That would sure be swell. Unfortunately, it takes a lot of time, coordination, and resources to try and figure out an entirely new place to move a giant friend group of people. So we've essentially soft-locked ourselves here until we can all agree it's time to get out of here. I'll give LA some credit. The main thing that makes it great is the fact that everything is always happening here. There's always some sort of fun event going on. Concerts, tours, random pop-ups.
I would say that kind of stuff does go on in pretty much any other city. Now, maybe LA's got the most, because that's what it's known for. But like Las Vegas, there's always stuff going on there. New York, there's always stuff going on there. Any major friggin' hub city always has stuff going on.
I went to a live screening of the season 2 finale of Severance, where the cast got to talk about it afterwards, and that was one of the coolest experiences of my life so far. You name it, it is happening in California.
That's pretty cool, though.
Truly, you will never be bored here if you're always looking for something to do, and
and money to spend.
Recognize that is incredibly valuable. But at the same time, it means there's always tourists visiting, and Los Angeles is a very disgusting city for tourists to visit. It smells like pee all the time. The tourist trap areas are so trashy. There's constant crowds everywhere you go. When it rains, the pee smells even worse. Every once in a while, I need to go into the city for some reason or another, and those are
So she doesn't live in the direct city then? Not that I'm trying to... Where does she live? But, She was making it sound like she lives right in, you know, the city.
Bad days. Also, if you want to see all these cool things, you don't have to live in California to begin with. In fact, living here only desensitizes me to all the awesome stuff constantly around. Back when I first moved, I was really close to Disneyland, and for the entire 2 years I spent over there, I only went to the alleged happiest place on earth a single time because of a friend's birthday. That's more of a personal experience though. I know plenty of people who have yearly passes to Disney or Universal who go to them all the time. But for me,
Disney adults. I don't care if you like Disney, you know, but if you're getting up there in your age and you're like those typical like Disney adults, if you are married, count your blessings.
I always just think, I can go there anytime, so maybe later. And then later is multiple years. I consider it a privilege to be able to live in LA. It's expensive. A lot of people dream of coming here and making it big. And if you can afford it, you can definitely live luxuriously. But I am just really not built for all that. I grew up in a tiny desert town with like no people in it and prefer to be holed up in my house 90% of the time watching YouTube until my brain is mush. However, as much as I want to uproot everything again to live somewhere else less expensive and more compatible with my preferred lifestyle, I do think LA is a good place for me to be right now. Both the YouTube and animation industry are here. I don't need to travel for most of the events I get invited to, and content creators are always visiting for something or another, so I get to meet a lot of fellow creator friends.
Unless you're doing collabs and you're really going out of your way to, you know, see people and whatnot, I just don't see a point of living there. I really don't. Does it make sense spending 3 times what you would in any other state just to you know, say hi to someone now and then? I would say get your friends to agree upon a state where you think they think they could all live, and you know, they could get, you know, they could all work from that state, someplace that kind of meets everyone's needs. And then after that, you can find a city that meets everyone's needs. And then you just buy a house there or rent a house there.
I can't say anywhere else in the world can offer all these benefits that specifically apply to me right now. And it's also just a lot of fun. I might not exactly like it, but LA is my home for at least the next few years, and I do get to have a lot of fun here with my friends. It's a toxic relationship, I suppose, but I'm sure in a decade when I'm somewhere else and reminiscing on the past, I'll have very fond memories of it all. So I can complain all I want while I'm here, but deep down, I know California has been such a huge part of the most defining years of my life, and I'll hold a very special place for it in my heart for a long time. LAX and the drivers are just excluded from it though. I'll hate those parts forever.
Anyway, hope you guys liked this video. I mean, you know, Jaden's in a position, I think, where financially, although it's more expensive to live there, she even says that it's not going to like break the bank. So I guess it's fine, you know, in that realm, as well as all of her friends are there. But I think for the average person, moving is probably the best thing. Also, aren't the taxes there, like the income tax, like really freaking high compared to most other states? Like, as under my understanding, I think even sales tax like 15% or something like that, or 10%, and then the income tax is like, you know, a lot higher compared to any of the other places. But regardless, you know, if you're happy, I think at the end that's what matters, because you're not going to look back at the end and be like, oh, if I only had more money. You know, I think the happiness that you have along the way is probably what's going to mean more. But anyway, hope you guys like this. Make sure you go subscribe to Jaden Animations. If you do, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.